All right, breaking news. Okay, right now it's about 7:30 in the morning. I'm actually preparing for work right now, but about 2 hours ago, I was actually reading up on a little bit on the news, and something actually showed up, which is Snapchat. Evan Spielberg, basically the CEO of Snapchat, came out to say that they are going to be missing their targets, their estimates for the earnings that's going to be coming up, and they're going to be slowing hiring. Okay, I'm going to talk about why this is going to be very, very important for the entire tech sector as a whole. Okay, because just because Snapchat is the one that's talking about slowing hiring, talking about missing estimates, talking about slower growth in general. Okay, it's affecting all the other social media stocks. Okay, Twitter is down like 4%. Pinterest is down like I think 13%. Um, Even Meta platforms right now is down about 7% in the after hours as well. Okay, personally for myself, my Snapchat basically cost me to drop by a pretty hefty amount to say the least. But of course, I do have my covered calls in place. But the thing is that even with my covered calls in place, I'll most likely be getting those premium for free. But at the same time, my initial stock value amount on its own is still going to be dropping by quite a hefty amount. Nevertheless, it's just that the drop would be a little bit less intense as compared to what's going to be coming anyway. All right, anyway, I'm going to be going through the news since this is kind of like breaking news, urgent stuff. Let's go through it as fast as we can. Okay, first of all, we have to talk about how Snapchat shares plunged 30% in the extended trading on Monday after Evan Spiegel warned in a note to employees that the companies will miss its own targets for revenue and adjusted earnings in the current quarter. The social media company will also slow hiring through the end of the year as it looks to manage expenses. Part of the letter was filed with the SEC. Today, we filed an 8K sharing that the macro environment has deteriorated further and faster than we anticipated when we issued our quarterly guidance last month. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that last month I already went through the earnings for Snapchat as well. And the earnings was actually all right, which is why we were expecting the guidance to be all right as well. And they were expecting anywhere from the EBITDA to be from 0 million all the way to $50 million. And I said it before, this would most likely be the first quarter that we start to see Snapchat start to get out from the zero profit era and starting to actually earn money from their ad business as well. So I was actually quite excited about it, and which is why Snapchat even went down to about I think it went down to 23% and immediately recovered all of it because people thought that there's no reason for Snapchat to actually drop that much because they are going to be getting out of the non-profitable part of all the businesses and such. But right now, things clearly have changed for the worse. Okay, over here in the 8K, saying that the macro environment has deteriorated further and faster than we anticipated when we issued our quarterly guidance last month. Okay, so this one clearly just means that they are going to be going under 0 million in terms of their EBITDA, and chances are I'm looking at even more than just like a simple small loss. I do think that what Evan Spiegel is trying to do is kind of just warn the investor, like, okay, you know what, like just be careful a little bit. Chances are we're going to be dropping quite a little bit, but I do think that in the next quarter for the earnings, they will most likely beat according to whatever Evan Spiegel is saying over here as well. So let's see. All right. As a result, while our revenue continues to grow year over year, it's growing more slowly than we expected at this time. Okay. So like over here in April, Snapchat reported first quarter earnings that missed Wall Street expectation for sales and profit. At the time, companies said it expected between 20% to 25% year-over-year growth in revenue. Forecasted adjusted earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and just EBITDA in general, between $0 to $50 million. Okay, we believe it is now likely that we'll report revenue and adjusted EBITDA below the low end of the guidance range we provided for this quarter. Okay, so I do think that what Spiegel basically said in here is just that they're expecting it to be going into losses in about 25 million, 25 million all the way to 0 million. Okay. I do think that there is a good chance that he is just trying to preempt all the investors about this. Okay, but I do think that this is not just about preempting either, because this is going to be doing some form of a foreshadow for a lot of other companies as well. Because even for Meta platforms themselves, they have said that they're going to be slowly hiring. Okay, which is why you can see Facebook basically has been in the dirt for quite some time, and about they have not been touching $200 in a very, very long time. Okay, Snapchat, doing this entire news coming out over here, is going to be pushing tech stock off the cliff. Okay, because tech stock as a whole, especially in the 2020 and 2021, we actually saw a lot of hiring boom. We saw a lot of huge payout. Okay, we saw a lot of people actually getting high position because the company is potentially going to be doing very, very well. Okay, and clearly that's not going to be the case anymore. Okay, because you just look at Peloton, for example. Okay, if you were a employee of Peloton getting the stock compensation, saying that for example, you're going to get 200 Peloton stock compensation when Peloton was back at about $200. It actually makes sense for you to be like, oh, okay, that's great. This is about like $40,000 for myself. And right now Peloton is like what, $12? Like, it went down a lot, and I do think that even for employees holding on to the stocks option themselves, they probably think that it's kind of not worth it for them to even have all this sort of benefits by going with the company as well. So that's why you see a lot of people actually moving from different companies to different companies, and yeah, honestly, this kind of just makes tech sector a lot worse to be in, especially with the whole point of the slowing of hiring. I do think that that's going to be a huge pointer. For Twitter falling 4%, honestly speaking, no one really care, because at the end of the day, we expect Elon Musk to be buying over Twitter. So Twitter dropping by 4% is almost like a little bit of an arbitrage trading. No one really worry about that as much. Pinterest dropping by 12%. Honestly speaking, I do see Pinterest coming out with the same sort of notice in next few weeks or so. Otherwise, if they do not do that, okay, there is a good chance that they'll just completely miss on their earnings for the next quarter, and they will most likely be going through the same fate of what Snapchat basically just went through. So yeah, this is very tough on me. Like, Snapchat is one of my bigger positions as well. All right. Anyway, Spiegel said Snap will continue to recruit new employees, but will slow its pace of hiring for the rest of the year. He still expects Snap to hire 500 new employees before the end of the year, according to the note. The company hired about 2,000 employees over the last 12 months. Okay. Makers of Snapchat is facing rising inflation, interest rates, supply chain shortage, labor disruption, platform policy changes like Apple iPhone privacy feature, according to Spiegel. There's also a negative impact from the war in Ukraine. Okay, honestly speaking, I think that this is kind of unfair for Spiegel to actually name some of these things to be one of the reasons why Snapchat is going to be failing to hit their estimates. First of all, let's go through the pointers. Okay, rising inflation and interest rates hike. Fair enough. I think that's going to be affecting everyone as a whole. It's not just going to be affecting a certain industry. Supply chain shortages, on the other hand, because Snapchat don't exactly create anything. They are more of a ad business. I don't really see what they are really going to be talking about supply chain shortages. Labor disruption, on the other hand, same thing again. I don't think that they have a huge issue on labor disruption, even if they're trying to get enough employee on the HR side of things, on people who are doing the operational side of things. I don't think that labor disruption should be that big of an issue. And if it is that big of an issue, okay, then you just hire more, right? So I don't think that that's a fair reason for them to actually include into this. Platform policy changes like the iPhone privacy feature, totally get it. I 100% get it. I do think that this should be the most important thing and the most crucial thing that's happening to Snapchat and all the other social media platforms, which is what happened with the Apple's iPhone privacy feature. I don't think the whole impact from the war is going to be doing much either. So our most meaningful gains over the coming months will come as a result of improved productivity from our existing team members. Again, pretty bad. It simply just means that yeah, chances are we're not going to be hiring, and our current team is the one that's going to be getting most of our meaningful gains in the coming months. And also at the same time saying that if we do get any losses, it's also because it's our existing team members kind of thing. So yeah. And now, okay, after hours, the stock dropped 28% to $16.15, and FYI is down 29.91% as of me recording right now at 7:42 a.m. Pretty bad. Okay, and they said it over here. Should it fall more than 26.6% later on during the market open, it would be the worst day for the stock since the company went public in 2017. So yeah, man, I don't know. I just feel that this is very tough news for me to really handle. Even though having covered calls and such, those covered calls are gonna be saving me about $2,000 or so. But ultimately, I'm still gonna be losing about like $4,000 or so on Snapchat's position. So yeah, imagine if I didn't have those covered calls, am I right? But yeah, those are gonna be bad. And yeah, I do think that there is a good chance that Snapchat is gonna be falling more than just 26.6%, and they are gonna be getting their worst day since the start of the IPO in 2017. I do think that Snapchat is probably gonna be seeing that day as well. But I'm not gonna blindly tell you guys that I'm gonna be buying the dip either. But personally, for myself, I would be doing so simply because I need to lower my own average downwards. Because by no means is this any sort of good news for Snapchat in the coming months either. Okay, I do expect Snapchat to so-called beat on earnings for whatever that Evan Spiegel basically came out to talk about. Okay, I do think that there is a good chance that they will beat on this estimate. Okay, and by a good chance, I do mean like maybe like 60-40. Okay, and also FYI, by beating it simply means by like cutting, like going on a break even is called beating on estimate as well. So I am a little bit worried for this. But like I said before, I will most likely be going to be dollar cost averaging, but not for a good reason. And because of that, I don't think that you guys should follow blindly. Right now, my Snapchat average price is about $28. So I would like to bring it down substantially by quite a number. If it's at $28, if I am able to buy in at about $16, $15 or so later or tomorrow, hopefully, then yeah, maybe I can bring it out about $25 or $24 or so for the average price of my Snapchat. I do intend to hold Snapchat for quite a long time, so yeah, I'll see how it actually goes. Or I might just sell all my Snapchat for a loss. I don't know what's going to be happening. But yeah, I just thought that I should make this so-called urgent video for you guys. But yeah, like I said before, this is going to be affecting your tech sectors by a huge margin. Expect a lot of your tech sector to start to see news coming out saying that they're going to be missing on estimate. A lot of the tech sectors are going to say we are going to be slowing hiring or even freezing hiring for some of the companies as well. And some of the potentially overblown company are starting to finally see its flaws because they are not as valuable as they deem themselves to be at the start of the tech boom. But yeah, anyway, that's all I have for this breaking news. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later for the news covering.